Hey, what's up, everyone? I am here today with a review video, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 16, Episode 5. This season has been pretty good so far, and it's giving storyline. So the scene or the episode starts off with Angela and Britt showing up to Shamia's house to discuss the night before. So what happened the night before was these two ladies on the screen. If you watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, you know Kenya. The other girl is Britt, a newcomer on the season. Britt feels some type of way about Kenya because she feels like Kenya was shading her and like being dismissive to her, um, you know, when they first met. Kenya said something about her engagement ring. She was like, "Oh, is that your engagement ring or something like that?" And she asked, like, is from a new husband. And Britt took that, you know, as shade and was like, "No, I only have one husband." And I guess she held on to that, and now she has an issue. So what happened was in the last episode, they went to this restaurant called The Bank, which I am going to go visit. That food looked really good, and the restaurant looks very pretty. So they went to the bank to have dinner. Angela invites them. I guess that's Angela's restaurant. I'm not sure. Angela's another housewife on the show, married to Charles Oakley. So they get to writing anonymous questions and putting them in a little box, and then everybody gets a question. They have to read it, and the question is about everybody at the table. So it gets to Brit's turn to read the question, and the question is directed towards Kenya, and it says, are you able to speak to Brit in a nice, polite way? I promise I didn't write this question. Girl, you okay, if you didn't write it, what a coinky dink that that question ended up in your hands. So Kenya's like, of course, yes, I can speak to everyone. And Britt was like, no, we're not talking about everyone, we're talking about me. And right there I was just like, well, she answered yes. After you answered or asked her that question, she said yes. And then she said, I can speak to everyone. Um, so Kenya was kind of paying her dust because Britt was getting turned up for no reason. And everybody at the table in their confessionals were saying they were confused as to what the problem was. So Kenya calls her a peasant. She was just like, "Oh, I'm not going to give my energy to peasants," or something like that. And that riled Britt up. And she was just like, "Oh, well, F this B. She don't know who she talking to." Da, 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 da. So because Britt was getting so heated, all of the ladies got up and exited the building. While they were exiting the restaurant, Britt was talking about how she got whips and pistols and stuff, and how she ain't worried. And at first, I was trying to, when I first heard it, I was like, okay, you saying that what towards Kenya? Girl, it didn't need for all that. That's not how they get down on Real Housewives. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt when I was like, okay, maybe she's talking about because they're in the hood, quote unquote, in Bankhead. But nah, when they got outside, Britt brought it up again how she got whips and pistols. First of all, why do you have a whip? Freaky. And it kind of gives, you probably want Kenya, but I don't know. So she gets outside, she's yelling and to Kenya and saying, "You not gonna disrespect me, you gonna learn today, you gonna learn today, da 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 da." And all of the girls in the confessionals was like, "Girl, you're doing too much." And she was doing too much because, girl, that did not warrant all of that. first of all, Kenya is not violent. She's not gonna physically fight you. She's just gonna use her words. So there's no reason of you mentioning, especially because I heard you're a fan of the show, so you should know how Kenya is. There's no point of you mentioning that you got this and got that for what? So you can have your moment, like Kenya said. It was a moment. It was she was good, and even her husband said, "Girl, you doing too much." Girl, your husband said it, and your co-workers and your friend Kelly said it. So, anyways, that's what happened the last episode. We get on to this episode. Britt and Angela show up to Shamia's house to discuss what happened. So, Britt is like, "Oh, I would never want Kenya to think that, I would ever, mean anything like that or do anything like that. And, I want to apologize." And Britt seems embarrassed because, girl, this is Real Housewives. This is not Zeus Network or Love and Hip Hop. Go on to those other channels if you want to act like that. The girls on this show, they don't really get down like that. So they also started to discuss Portia's statement about Charles to Angela, because at that dinner, Portia was like, "Oh, I heard something about Charles," which is Angela's husband. And Angela was like, "What is it?" And Portia was just like, "Oh, well, wait, girl." Girl, how you gonna say something about somebody's husband, be like, "Oh, well, wait. No, tell me what my husband did. What tea you got? I need to know." Portia, you messy for that. Um, so after that, Kelly, um, Kelly and Portia show up at Kenya's new hair salon. She opened a new hair shop. So she opens the hair shop, and well, before the opening, they give me 1 second. Hold on. Portia and Kelly meet up with Kenya at Kenya's new hair salon. Kenya is going to have like a mini hair show on the day of her opening for the salon. So they're viewing models for the opening, and once they're done doing that, they start discussing the situation with Britt and Kenya. Portia was, saying that, well, Kenya was saying, everything was good, until Britt, chimed in, and then Portia was like, yeah, what was said needs to be addressed. And Kenya's like, yeah, I know what I heard. And Kelly is like, because Kelly is close friends with Britt, she's like, oh, she's not that type of person. I've never seen her act like that. Da 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 da. I didn't hear what she said. Now, Kelly, girl, I like you. I like all the girls on the season. But, girl, you was standing right next to her. You heard her. You heard what she said. You even said, we ain't worried because we got Kennedy here, which is Kelly's security guard. Girl, you heard her. She said it twice. You heard it. And then Kenya's like, well, you can't speak for her. I have to see it myself, which is true. Well, I wanted to mention something about the models for the hair salon. One of the models was a bottle girl, and Kelly came up with the idea, instead of having liquor bottles for Kenya's hair salon opening, to have shampoo bottles. And I thought that was really cute. So I thought that was cute, a cute idea. So anyways, after that, we get a scene with Angela and her daughter, and they're discussing like issues. The daughter is telling Angela that she's having issues with her grandma because I guess her grandma was arguing with her or something about a car. and they just have a emotional conversation about communication, because Angela's daughter didn't even tell her that she got married 4 months ago. She had to find out from her mom. And they just have an emotional conversation. And Angela's just like, we just need to keep our communication open. Britt and Portia meet and discuss the other night of what happened at the bank. So, which is the restaurant. Portia was trying to tell her that nobody thinks Kenya did anything to you, even though I feel like Kenya, with the whole ring situation, the first or second episode, that was like light shade when she was asking about the ring. It could be interpreted as light shade, but it's not that big of a deal. She just asks you if this is your second husband or what ring you were wearing. So Portia was saying how everybody's confused of where the animosity came from and why you turned up that hard. And Portia was trying to tell her that Kenya heard what she said about the Glockiana, and how, Kenya feels threatened by that statement, because if you're arguing with someone and then you just casually bring that up, what do you think the other person's going to take it as? And Portia even said when she was arguing with Drew, and if she would have said, oh, I wish I had my Glockiana, obviously Drew would take that towards her because they were arguing. So Britt was saying, yeah, I was wrong. I would never do that, I just felt like she was trying to haze me, and I just got out of line, and I'm not that type of person. So they leave, and then we get to, I think this is the last scene. If it's not, well, I'm skipping to the scene. We get to Kenya's hair salon opening. Very pretty spa. I would go there if their phones were working, because I called them the other day, phone off the hook. I hear that they're never open. It says that it's open, but it's really not. It's not even in Atlanta, apparently. I don't know. That's what I heard. It's not in Atlanta. It's like right outside of Atlanta. So they get to the salon, and Portia, Drew, Cynthia, Angela, Shamia, they're all there. We get this little scene where Drew is trying to talk to Portia for like the 10th time, because Portia keeps avoiding her. And she's avoiding her because Portia's mad because Drew is working with her baby daddy, and also trying to do business deals with Portia's hairline, like promotional shoots, without asking Portia, which that part I could see why Portia would be upset, and the baby daddy part, but really the business part. How you gonna set up promotional stuff without telling me, and it's my business? So yeah, that was kind of weird. And Drew, you working with Dennis, I mean, I don't know. Portia, it seems like you kind of want Dennis. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds like you want him back. But, I can understand why she feels some type of way that her friend is over here trying to film with her baby daddy and work with her baby daddy and stuff like that. But I don't think that Drew really wants Dennis. I feel like maybe she's doing it to like poke at Portia. Maybe she says this for her music, but yeah. So Drew tries to talk to Portia about it. She's just like, I don't want your man. You can have your hot dog, because he runs a hot dog business. So I thought that was cute. She was like, you can have him. I don't want him, and I didn't do nothing to you. And Portia is just really not saying anything. She's just like, hold on. What I feel like she wanted to say was, what I feel like hello. What I feel like she wanted to say was, girl, I don't have to talk to you if I don't want to. Um, that's what it was given. And then Portia just walked off, and Drew was just like, oh, I tried, I'm not trying anymore. And I mean, I wouldn't either. If someone don't want to talk and you keep trying to talk to them, don't give them no more time. I tried. You don't want to? Okay, peace. So Kelly and Britt, show up after they have, the opening with the models and the hair models and stuff. So Kelly and Britt show up to the salon. Kenya did not uninvite Britt, but she didn't invite her either. Britt, if you were a fan of the show, you would have probably not have went and not brought her flowers to apologize, because Portia even because when they got there and Kelly, had the flowers with her for Kenya to say sorry, Portia was just like, you might want to take your plants back, because I guess Portia tried to give Kenya plants or flowers a long time ago when they got into it, and it didn't Kenya didn't want them. So Kenya, and Britt run into each other. First of all, Kenya's taking shots. So she's taking shots of tequila, and she's feeling a little loosey-goosey. And when Britt and Kelly, show up, or when Britt brings the flowers to Kenya, Kenya pays her dust and just turns and greets everyone else. So Kelly's like, oh, not Kelly, Britt. Britt is like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just leave. I'll leave the flowers here. I tried. So she's walking out the door. Kelly still stays. And Kenya's like, listen up, everyone. I have an announcement. So she starts, and mind you, this is Kenya's opening day for her new salon. She starts talking about Britt, someone she don't like or someone she's mad at, on her opening day, going down the list of what happened the other night, telling it to a bunch of people who weren't even there besides the main ladies of the show. Tells them what happened between her and Britt, or whatever. And Kenya pulls out these poster cards, or these like big post things, and on them are pictures of Britt. I guess one poster, because she had like 4. One of them was like Britney's before and after face, I guess, because she got surgery. I think it was something like that. But the main part of the issue was the last poster, which was apparently Britt slobbing down a Subway sandwich. Okay, so I heard somebody say, ew, I don't want to see nobody sucking nobody's D. So Kenya showed that picture of Britt to everyone. It was just like, who is this hoe? Oh, this is this hoe. So a lot of the ladies were disgusted by what Kenya did. And me personally, I feel like, Kenya, you should not have gave that girl your day of your salon opening. I will be damned if I bring attention or put attention on somebody, especially that I don't like, on the day of me opening my business. That's where you messed up at, Kenya. You probably had too many tequila shots. You could have did that on a different day, and apparently it was not revenge, because it was already out there. So Kelly leaves because she's closest to Britt. Portia leaves. Portia, you be acting like you so above stuff, but you was involved in the most messiest stuff on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Cynthia tells Kenya, I love you, but that is beneath you, and I will call you later. Cynthia seemed like she was hurt that Kenya would ruin her own day like that. And that is sad. You know, you could have waited to do that because now nobody's talking about your hair salon. And even if we wanted to, we can't even go in there. Y'all don't have the phone on. And I keep hearing it's not open. It'll never be open. I might go down there one day, but yeah, Kenya, you shouldn't have done that at your event. And it was sad to see most of your friends leave because they were disappointed in you. You know, Bravo, I don't think they fired Kenya, but they removed her from filming the rest of the season because of that. And honestly, I feel like if y'all was going to do that to Kenya, y'all should have put Britt on leave too for threats or mentioning weapons or something that was not even that serious against someone who's not even physically violent. So Britt should have got some sort of action, disciplinary action too, not just Kenya. And Kenya said that she went to the producers and stuff and saying how, you know, she didn't feel safe and it's not right that she could say something like that. And the producers basically like brushed her off like she was a Karen or something like that. I don't think that's right. I feel like y'all should have gave Brits a timeout too, not just Kenya. So yeah, that's really where the episode ends. Portia just like, I don't want the camera on me. Turn that off. Turn that off. Girl. But yeah, that's where the episodes ends. This season, like I said, is given storyline. It's pretty good. It's all right. So I'm going to continue doing reviews for the rest of the season. And I'll be back and see y'all on the next one. Peace.